Welcome to another episode. In this one, we'll be looking at the OLTP, which refers to online transaction processing, versus the online analytical processing, OLAP. The differences and the approach to learning. Before we get started, in case if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel and provide the encouragement needed for me as well. So now let's look at the differences, particularly probably you're starting a career in IT or just out of college, maybe engineering or management institute. So do learn the difference as well. So any business runs on a business application. However, a small, medium and large, digital transformation is driving the business. So there are going to be business applications, and all this requires the appropriate software tool and hardware tool to run the business, to make transaction happen, then to build business intelligence. So for all this you need business applications. So different business applications are then classified into OLTP or the OLAP. OLAP is more for building the business intelligence into whatever the data which has been entered with the OLAP tool. So it is the OLAP, as I said, it's online transaction processing. The OLTP is online transaction processing, and OLAP is online analytical processing. So again the definition part, and then so basically it is the enterprise resource planning application which is referred to the OLTP. So you could have a custom built application if it's a small business or if it's a medium, and now these days there are many ERP tools. I mean 20 years back it was just about either you could have Oracle ERP or SAP, or those days they used to have PeopleSoft as well, which is all on premises. Now they do have a cloud application. Oracle Cloud or SAP also has the cloud. So basically if they are referring to OLTP, they are referring to the ERP applications. So whereas in case of the OLAP, it's going to be the business analyticals, which is based on the data which is on the ERP system. So that is the analytical processing, and there are tools like Business Object, Cognos are used. So basically there are two difference. One is the OLTP, the other one is OLAP. So how does it get integrated? That is more interesting, and that is what I mean any consultant should be clearly aware of, how one integrates with the other. We'll see that how the integration happens. So again the heart of all this, whether it is OLTP or OLAP, is a relational database, which is known as the RDBMS. Relational database, and basically I mean 80 to 90% is based on the Oracle RDBMS. So if you are learning a relational database, it's better to learn the Oracle database thoroughly. It's also okay something like if you learn MySQL or any relational database, that's also fine. So the first is the difference, and so if you get in a block diagram how it looks like as far as the OLTP is concerned, the first layer, which is the tier 1, is the database, relational database, that is called the first tier. The database resides, and then comes the application layer where business rules, process are built on, and then you have to access them through the browser. So I mean there will be different applications like HR system, sales system, marketing, finance, something called O2C, order to cash, or procure to pay. You purchase something and then pay for it, that is procure to pay. When you order something and then cash gets particularly when it is customer, it is referred to the accounts receivable side, it is called O2C, and procure to pay on the vendor side is called P2P. So these are the respective modules where the transaction happens, and through the business rule, all this gets recorded in the database as far as the OLTP is concerned. And why do we require OLAP then? We can always use this database and then use this data which is there in the data and then do further analysis. But unfortunately, most of the system, there are multiple OLTP system. Some people might use something like ERP or web applications or spreadsheet. Different source systems are used, just not ERP. They might use, any business might use different sources. So that is where it becomes a challenge. So naturally, you need to do a consolidations. So somewhere you might use a custom built web application and an ERP system, or sometimes they small offices might use spreadsheet. So naturally you need to integrate them. That is where the process of extract, transformation and loading happens, which is called as ETL process, and that is into a data warehouse system. And there are tools like Oracle Data Integrator, Informatica is used, and finally comes the tools from which they derive out, because the history data is provided by the ERP system, and then the process of ETL happens, they load into a database and then do an analysis, and that is where it is called the OLAP. So they use the tools like Business Object or Cognos to derive out the meaningful information. So I hope now you got the information, so how it works from a big picture perspective. And finally, if you look at it, this is how it happens. Business strategy, you have on the top is what is the ERP system, and ERP system gets into the data warehousing system, and you have the business intelligence. So both of them complement each other. So without an ERP, business intelligence has no meaning. You need to have the OLTP system and then has the OLAP in place. So this is how it works. And now if you want to learn, how do we go about? So the first one to learn, the learning approach is, you need to understand the business process in an enterprise. You need to have knowledge of if you are into finance side or into supply chain, then you need to learn about the business process of O2C, that is order to cash or procure to pay, or HR process, which involve something like recruitment to retirement. So those process you need to learn the basic business process, and once you have knowledge on the business process, then you learn about the product configuration, ERP product configuration. So if you are good because each of the, this is where the industry segment comes. What is a business process in a retail industry could be totally different from a manufacturing industry. So that is where the configurations, ERP product configuration are important. And if you have a good knowledge of both O2C and ERP product configuration, then you are called as a business or a functional consultant. And the other approaches, you can learn the database language, SQL, analytical tools, shell scripting, Unix shell scripting. Then you become the analyst or a technical consultant, because that is where the database, because you need to use, when you want to build a report, SQLs are used. Or if you want to build a custom application, then probably you need to involve the database design part, and that is where SQL are important. And there, if you want, you can go further in learning some of the ETL tools as well, that is extract, transformation, loading tools like Informatica and others as well, or the analytical OLAP analytical tool itself like Business Object, Cognos are used. But these days, yeah, I mean, it's getting more and more integrated in the sense it is just not the functional consultant. You need to play a different role in the sense you need to be a kind of a business consultant who has technical knowledge as well. So you are well versed in the database, how the SQL works. So those knowledge will give you an edge over a pure functional consultant or a pure technical consultant. So you have a mix of both, that is a functional consultant and a technical consultant. You have an advantage one over the other. So I hope you found this presentation useful. Thank you.